Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered for Tuesday, May 28th, 2019, rapper Meek Mill says he is going to sue the Las Vegas casino, the Cosmopolitan Hotel, saying they are racist as hell after they turned him away. And they haven't explained exactly why. Other rappers are saying y'all won't see any of us unless y'all deal with this problem. We will fully explain. In Baltimore, the police department is taking heat for calling young people criminals on social media. Well, first of all, it's the idiotic fraternal order police, but we know how they actually respond. Also, newly available body cam video shows a young man in San Antonio, Texas, murdered at home by a police officer. Folks, this is stunning video. The brother was at his house. The cop came with a flashlight looking through his door. And when the brother says, man, what are y'all doing? Shots ring out, killing him. This cop should be indicted for murder. The Senator Bernie Sanders knows what's best for African-American children when it comes to education. We'll talk about his thoughts about charter schools and also what lessons Robert Smith taught Morehouse graduates and others about giving back. Also, Lonnie Bunch has a new job with the Smithsonian. We'll break it down. And the first black woman wins at cons. Folks, we've got a packed show. Memorial Day is over. Y'all had barbecue, y'all have had parties. Now it's time for us to bring the funk. Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling.
Cameras play a huge role when it comes to documenting racism. That was the case when Meek Mill tried to get into the Cosmopolitan Casino in Las Vegas. Then this happened.
I respect that, but
how can you tell me I'm gonna be locked up on trespassing?
Hold on. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
We're a private property.
Yes.
At this time, with the information we have, we're refusing to do business with you. We have the right to do that.
What?
Right?
What information?
Hold on. So if I come
But
to your
no,
house,
but not refusing to do business with me. You telling me I'll be arrested if I don't leave. If I walk upstairs and get something to eat, I'm gonna be arrested for what?
What we just said was
For being a rapper?
We officially trespassed.
For what?
We officially trespassed.
For
you.
what though? But what did you
to,
officially protest me
we have the right
for?
to do that.
For what? How?
Sir,
yes.
Who do we get the details from? Because
Say no more. We out. Let's say no more, man.
Our vice president will
send me that video.
Yeah.
We'll get you that information.
You don't even have
you don't know
that
that
information in making that decision?
Yeah, can you get that? Yeah.
No, stop. Guys, I'm not accusing you of doing anything, man.
We just asked you what day
everyone's trying to chip in and put their 2 cents in, right? So, again, I wasn't there. I don't know. This is way bigger than me. Obviously, you're somebody. Can you stop recording me?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. So actually, go ahead, record me. That's fine. As a
can we
figure out this
out?
property? I hereby warn you that you're trespassing on this property.
But listen though.
As defined by Nevada Revised Statute 207.200. If you do not leave these premises immediately, you will be subject to arrest for a misdemeanor.
For what?
You're subsequent return to these premises
what?
after being duly warned out.
Arrested for what?
You to arrest for trespass.
Arrested for what?
Do you understand this? Warning. Again.
Now, the attorney for Meek Mill is demanding an apology from the Cosmopolitan. Other rappers have weighed in. Go to my iPad, please. 50 Cent posted this. Damn, boy, they wouldn't let Meek in. Ha, ha, ha. I know he was tight. They filed for that. I won't stay at the Cosmo until this is resolved. Also, I'm going to pull up T.I. He also had something to say about this as well. Again, what you're seeing is many of these, this is the video. T.I.'s This Is America, where being black around hateful redneck police can kill you. Actually, there's another video. Let me pull up, here it is here. This was his. He says, Cosmopolitan, please explain Hashtag us or else. More than 6,000 comments there as well. Our panel right now joining us, Malik Abdul, Vice President, Black Conservative Federation. Also Kelly Bethea, Communication Strategist, as well as Dr. Jason Nichols, African American Studies, University of Maryland. Folks, here's what's strange here. So they tell Meek Mill, based on information that we have, but they don't say what the information is. He was going to, it was about 3:30 in the afternoon, he was going to a party there that a DJ was actually holding. But for you to say you're trespassing, but you don't tell somebody why they're trespassing, makes no sense. That's why you have discrimination laws.
Right. I mean, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, I think we clearly see that there's a racial motivation here. And I think, you know, Meek Mill is good to put this out there. This is one of the great things about having cameras. Everybody has a camera on.
Of course, you had the guy say, can you stop recording? Hell no.
No, of course not. You know what I mean? He has every right to record that. And, you know, that interaction needed to be seen. And, you know, not just rappers, but regular people need not to visit, black or white, if you see this kind of discrimination happening at a business. We need not support those businesses. And, you know, the Cosmopolitan is you know, just the next in a long line of businesses that have engaged in these practices. Even in Washington, D.C., they try to ban black people without saying they're banning black people. They'll ban T-shirts, they'll ban sneakers, they'll ban other things, trying to keep African-American people out. We need to stand up, and certainly some of the allies, people who say they're allies, need not to support those businesses either.
Kelly, again, if you're Cosmopolitan, I mean, obviously, first of all, Vegas is known for a variety of reasons. If folks have been caught cheating or if they've torn up hotels, stuff along those lines. But I would think if you're going to send somebody out there, you might want to tell somebody why you're being banned.
No, absolutely. And from the looks of the video, it didn't even look like he knew why he was out there in the first place. It looked like he was trying to like make things up on the fly to like justify Meek Mill not being able to come in. But it's absolutely ridiculous. I still, just from the looks of the video itself, there's no cause for it.
Now this is funny here. This is what the hotels told NBC News. Quote, it related to a matter of security, not race. And any reports citing otherwise are false. Quote, we pride ourselves on providing an inclusive environment with zero tolerance for discrimination. Under different circumstances, Meek Mill will be welcome to the resort, but not at the compromise of his personal safety and the safety of our guests.
That still doesn't
Now,
make any sense.
now it says,
What does that mean?
now check this out. So again, according to the hotel, this is NBC. So Henry, go to my iPad, I'm reading here. According to the hotel, the party had reached capacity as dictated by city fire marshals, and prior to Mill's arrival, police had been called on site to manage a larger than usual venue crowd. When it was contacted in advance of Mill's arrival, security staff clarified that he would not be granted access because of capacity issues in accordance with both club and resort policy, the hotel said, adding that this was reiterated to Mill when he arrived. Meek Mill refused to depart property and was then informed that any continued attempt would result in trespassing. Can we go play the video again? I want y'all to actually hear what they told Meek Mill. Listen closely.
I respect that, but
How can you tell me I'm gonna be locked up for trespassing?
Hold on. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
We're a private property.
Yes.
At this time, with the information we have, we're refusing to do business with you. We have the right to do that.
What?
Right?
But what
Hold on.
information?
So if I come
But
to your house,
but not
if I come-
refusing to do
hold on,
business with me. You telling me I'll be arrested if I don't leave. If I walk upstairs and get something to eat, I'm gonna be arrested for what?
What we just said was
For being a rapper?
We officially trespassed.
For what?
you. We officially trespassed.
For
you.
what though?
All right. He said, based upon the information that we have right now, you be trespassing. Okay, press play.
But what did you officially protest me
We have the right
for?
to do that. We
For
have the
what?
right to
How?
trespass you as private property.
Sir,
Yes.
who do we get the details from? Because
So we will give
Say
you
no more.
information.
We
As I
out.
said,
Let's say no more,
our
man. Let's
Vice
close it.
President will
Send me that video.
Yeah.
We'll get you that information.
You don't even have
You don't know that
information in
information.
making that decision.
Yeah, can you get that? Yeah.
No, stop. Guys, I'm not accusing you of doing anything, man.
All right, can we just ask you what day did it
everyone's
happen?
trying to chip in and put their 2 cents in, right? So again, I wasn't there. I don't know. This is way bigger than me. Obviously, you're somebody. Can you stop recording me?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
This
So
is-
actually, go ahead, record me. That's fine. As a
Yeah,
duly appointed representative
can we
of the owner
figure
of this
out-
property, I hereby warn you that you're trespassing on this
Come back to
property.
me.
But listen though.
Okay, this is real simple. If it was a crowding issue, you say it.
Right.
But to say, based upon the information that we've received about you, really, Malik? Really?
Yeah, it's clear that there was an obvious communication breakdown from whoever made the decision that he wasn't allowed to the guys there trying to defend it. I mean, it's pretty clear either they did not know or they didn't want to be honest. Whatever the backstory is, I don't know. I imagine it probably has a bit more to do with, well, I imagine it has more to do with, it has less to do with race than we're assuming. I mean, the Cosmo is a popular hotel. I was just there, and the Migos were playing there at the hotel. So it's not like they don't have a history of allowing black people into the establishment. But in this particular case, it may have more to do with the industry in which he's a part of than race itself.
But there's an intersection of race and some of the other things.
Sure,
that
but
we're looking
I
at
think
here.
it's
not just
but
plainly.
it's not,
nobody's saying that it's plainly. Oh, you're darker than a paper bag. No one's saying that.
Right.
But certainly there is an element of race if we're talking about the fact that he has, say he has a criminal record, or people have heard rumors about him, or he's a rapper, or whatever it is that led to him being barred from that hotel with him not doing anything.
for whatever reason. I mean, they've allowed people who've been jailed before.
Then race is an element.
Here's the piece that people have to understand. And I'm sure there's somebody who's saying, oh, why y'all making a big deal because of Meek Mill? No, it's because we have numerous examples of African Americans who go to bars, who go to restaurants,
Right.
who go to clubs, and are denied entrance. Folks who at the door will make up rules. Oh, you have to be dressed a certain way.
Bouncing,
Then they
yep.
go, but that white person right there has
yeah.
tennis shoes on.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's these arbitrary decisions. If you are a hotel, and if it's a security issue, you say it. You don't start reading the code, the code,
is really
and if
weird.
you trespass,
Right.
you'll be charged with a
Because God forbid
misdemeanor.
he was wrong about the code. What if he was just saying that off the top of his head?
The guy
We
said
don't
it
know.
was way bigger than me.
Yeah, but that's my
so-
point about the whole communication breakdown. What if it weren't Meek Mill? It was some other rapper. They should have.
No,
But regardless, it wasn't-
but I'm trying to broaden this because it's not just rappers.
No, it's
What I'm
not.
saying is there are African Americans who have had to deal with this, whether it is hotels, whether it is bars, whether it is restaurants, in a variety of ways. And we have to deal with the fact that you have individuals who are white who own places. I know of restaurants where they've said, "Oh no, it's too many black people." I know of restaurants where they closed down because they said, "I'm sorry, the clientele is just too black."
No, I mean, I agree with you. There's nothing to dispute about that. But specifically with this video, just the excuse that they gave in the press release to NBC, that just makes no sense. Because if it's a security issue, Meek Mill had security. So what are you talking about in terms of security? If it's regardless.
Didn't say it was for his safety.
That was my thing. I was just like, he's surrounded by security guards.
He's got security. Y'all got security.
He's in the safest spot.
Just saying.
He's in the safest spot he could possibly be in Las Vegas. But also the fact that he was invited to this event by DJ Mustard. Like, he's expected to be there. So for the hotel to come down and say, you're trespassing on what grounds?
And this is also why you shoot the video. Because
Absolutely.
what they told NBC News, totally different than what you actually heard on that video, which is why video is so important, because folks again lie. And when speaking of video, folks talked about lying. No, I'm gonna go to what happened in San Antonio. I'm gonna go to this right now. I was in Houston over the weekend. Had two nieces who graduated, and I saw this video. And first of all, I'm warning you in advance because it could be a trigger to someone who's watching this. Okay, so let me set this up for you. Literally, a cop is peering inside of a home with his flashlight, okay? You're gonna hear the homeowner, okay, come to the door. The homeowner ends up dead. 18-year-old Charles Chop Roundtree, okay? It took place in San Antonio. The video was released on Thursday. Police officer Steve Casanova was the one who fired the shots. Now, according to a statement given by Taylor Singleton, one of the witnesses, Casanova says, "What's up, man?" without identifying himself as an officer. Singleton, at that point, Stokes got to confront Casanova, but none of them knew he was an officer at the time. The guy, folks, follow me. The guy's sitting in his house. Some dude walks up with a flashlight and is shining a flashlight through the door. At no point does he say, San Antonio Police Department, we got a call, who's here? So I'm warning you in advance, turn away if you need to right now. This is what happened.
What's up, man? Hey, let me see. Shots fired. Watch out, more of the way.
2330. Said shot fired.
Get back. Get that fucking dog out of here. What'd you see? Hey, he had a fucking gun. He pulled it out.
Shots fired.
Okay, you hear, first of all, now I'm going to play it again because I want you to, first of all, you see what so you can see what happened. Then I want you to hear what the cop says at the end, which, you know what that was all about. I feared for my life. Now, we're seeing him approaching the door. Now, let's dissect it again, okay? And when I tell y'all to stop, stop it. Play it again. Stop. Now, this part of the video, he is approaching the door. He has a flashlight out. At no point do you hear him identifying himself as a San Antonio Police Department officer. Press play.
What's up,
Stop,
man?
stop. You hear him knock on the door. You still have not heard him say, San Antonio Police Department. You hear Charles Roundtree, who hears this knock, sees a light. What's up, man? Press play.
Hey, let me see. Shots
Stop.
fired.
He fires into the house. Door is still closed. It's a screen door. Cop then says, shots fired. Press play.
Watch out, more of the way.
2330. Said shot fired.
Get back. Get that fucking dog out of here. What'd you see? Hey, he had a fucking gun. He pulled it out.
Shots fired.
He had a fucking gun and he pulled it out on me. He's in his house.
He has every right to do that.
As a native Texan, the law in Texas says you can protect your property. If somebody is stealing your car in your driveway in Texas, you can come out of your home with your gun, shoot them in your driveway because you are protecting your property. This guy sees a flashlight coming through his door. He hears somebody pulling on the door. If I'm in a house and I got a gun, okay, and I can't wait to hear Dana Lash and Grant Stinchfield, all you NRA Colin Noir, all y'all people who want black folks to have guns. Okay, now first of all, we don't know if Roundtree actually had a gun.
Yeah, I didn't.
But
Can't even-
even if he did have a gun, he's sitting in his house. I hear somebody come to my door, I'm gonna grab my gun, say, man, who is this? And you immediately fire shots into a door?
Yeah, this is we've seen this before. We've talked about it here before. You would think by this point there would be no more stories and that we've exhausted the conversation, but clearly that's not the case.
Not as long as you have trigger happy cops.
Well, absolutely, and within the time that I actually complete this sentence, Tamir Rice was dead. The officers arrived on the scene and Tamir Rice was dead. So we've seen this before, hopefully, whatever the investigation leads, there is no reason that someone should be killed by someone who's outside of their house. I mean, because it seems like that's exactly what happened here. There is no excuse for this. I hope that there's an investigation, just like there were in the case with the Dallas cop who showed up at the guy's door.
I
And,
hope
no,
the
no,
investigation
who thought
isn't like that.
Well, I thought
Right.
That was
wasn't in that case.
terrible
Oh, I thought they
investigation.
actually finally charged her. Or something.
They waited for her to get her story together.
Right.
Okay.
You know, they waited and let her, you know, conjure up and get her stuff out of her apartment. That was a terrible investigation. And hopefully, you know, I think what Roland said is the big point here. I live in liberal blue Maryland. You come shining a light
Right.
into my house and say, "What's up, man?" There might be somebody in the doorway with a gun.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Well, that's
You know, I have kids in my home, and I'm not sure what Roundtree, you know, friends, family, mother, people he was trying to protect, or just protect himself.
protecting himself.
Right.
He had every right, if he did have a gun.
Now,
to have
mind you, everybody's. Listen, here's the deal. This took place in October.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
The body cam footage was just released.
Wow.
The family, they filed a civil lawsuit against the city and the officer, saying he was not properly trained. What was crazy about this, again, the cop says that another gentleman in the house, Devontae Snowden, was reaching for a gun. Now, Snowden was actually, he was shot, he recovered, and he was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. The shooting took place on October 17th, but the family says that they were in the home just simply talking, listening to music. Police say the house was well known to sell drugs, but the police report said the officer found a wooden door partially open and two people inside, one of whom opened the door. Snowden's arrest affidavit says the door, which had been ajar, opened when Casanova knocked. And then Casanova said Snowden immediately was immediately hostile towards him, asking, "Who the F are you?" Okay, if I'm inside my house and it's a flashlight and I don't know who you are,
Right.
that's probably what I'm going to say.
Exactly.
Right.
Who are you?
And I'm coming to the door.
According to police, Snowden reached for the gun in his waistband before Casanova shot him, fearing for his life. A bullet struck Snowden in the buttocks before going through him and killing Roundtree, who was sitting on a couch behind Snowden.
Wow.
Police recovered a pistol from the home outside a partially open window 15 minutes after the shooting, believed to have been in Snowden's possession. The police chief says it's a very unfortunate, tragic incident that happened. Unfortunately, that person who was just sitting there was killed by a bullet fired at someone who was attempting to use deadly force against police officers.
So this wasn't even the person who opened the door that he
Right.
shot.
No,
he shot him
He
too.
shot at
I mean,
the guy
the one who died.
came to the door, but the bullet went through his
through him.
buttocks and hit the guy, hit Roundtree, who was killed. The problem here again is the BS. How are you firing into a home?
And then you shoot him in the butt. So how do you shoot it?
But you're firing.
it went
But you're
through
firing into a home.
Okay, went
Right.
through him.
Like there was no.
And it looked dark.
But how are you?
I don't
But
know.
how are you as a
It's
cop
not about the
firing
darkness. It's
into a
not about-
home?
Right. Like
My thing is also, if you are that afraid, why didn't you
Why don't
call
you-
for backup?
Why do
Why
you
didn't
have
you
that
identify
job if
yourself?
you are afraid?
But why do you identify
How about
yourself,
this?
though?
How about you get on your police department speaker? This is San Antonio Police Department. I need every occupant in the house to step outside.
I'm probably not coming to the door with a gun at that point. But at
Right,
least I know who you are.
but also again, I'm inside my house. I have the right to say who the hell is pulling on my door.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if I got a gun to protect myself. It doesn't matter if you're a cop.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You don't get, just like the woman in Billings, Montana, you don't get just to walk in my crib because you're a cop.
Right.
No,
Right.
that's true.
And he didn't even have the opportunity to walk in. He literally was just
From
at
outside.
the door. The door is still closed. He shot through the door.
And the cop said it was accidental. How the hell is it accidental if I pull my gun and I'm firing into a door at somebody in the house?
And then runs away as if somebody's chasing you.
And he
And
probably
then talks about the dog.
and he probably had the gun drawn the entire time.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Because he lifted that gun up really quickly. He ain't
Yeah,
quick
it was out of the
draw
holster,
McGraw.
I'm pretty sure.
He had it out of the
I
holster.
thought it was like this. I
You
thought
know?
he was in this position. It was like the flashlight, gun underneath.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, like he didn't even give anybody any
According to
time.
the San Antonio Express News, again, this took place in October 2018. They keep trying to make the argument, oh, the house was known to sell drugs. It does not matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter if you say that they've known to sell drugs. The reality is you have the right to sit in your house with the door open and with a screen door, and you don't have the right as a cop to come to, one, try to open my door, because here's the first piece. Did you have a warrant?
Right.
If you did not have a warrant, then you should not be trying to pull on the door. And if you did have a warrant,
You still have to
you
announce
still
that.
have to
Right.
knock. Now you have some no-knock warrants, but did you have a warrant? No. They got a
went
call.
to a no-knock raid with one person.
My point is they got a call saying there was some disturbance. But the problem here, again, black person dead. And again, I don't care. Let me be real clear. I don't care if they have a criminal record. I don't care what their history is. You have a right to sit in a house, and you have a right to have a gun.
By your side, if
right,
you wanted to.
You do.
In Texas, of all states.
if this person was a felon and shouldn't have been carrying a gun,
That's a different
whole
story.
different deal.
Right.
But still, if somebody's rolling up to my crib and I'm packing, I'm probably gonna grab my gun. Yo, who the hell is that outside?
What's up, Slim?
And he probably, to be honest, they said he was reaching for it. He probably reached for it because he saw him holding
Right.
the
Okay,
gun.
first of all,
No.
of course I'm gonna reach for it
Right.
if I got a bright ass light
Right.
shining through and I don't know who it is.
Right.
I'm gonna probably reach for my gun like, who the hell is this?
Right.
But something that you actually said in the report, he said likely, so he didn't even know whether this person had a gun. It was like he likely had the gun. At least that's what I heard you read.
Officer Casanova saw a handgun on SP2's waistband and told SP2 to show his hands. At this point, SP2 ignored Officer Casanova's commands and continued to remove his handgun from his waistband. That's a damn lie.
So within that
no,
2 second
that's
period.
a damn.
Right.
Hold up, that's a damn lie. Play the video.
I can't watch it.
Play. That's a damn lie. And listen.
What's up, man? Hey, give me your shots fired. Watch out, more of the way.
Come back. Did any of y'all here put your hands up?
Nothing.
Within that short period of time that he came to the door, we're probably talking about all of 10 seconds, it seemed like that whole conversation went before the guy was dead.
If that.
Because I saw him, he stood up. He stood up, obviously, with the gun. He probably stood up with the gun by his side or something.
The cop
but the
lied.
idea that the cop was
lied.
literally
No,
shooting
you can see in that
through.
video that he didn't have anything on his person yet. He was standing with his hands by his side in the shadow.
Yeah, see, I didn't
so
know if
it's
he
like
had that.
he drew for what?
But he still shot into, he killed,
Oh no!
he shot
regardless, he
point.
shot into the house.
At no point did you hear that cop say, "Don't pull your weapon out."
Identify yourself at a minimum.
At no
Anything.
point. At no point did you.
At a minimum.
The chief is lying, the officers are lying, and the city is lying. And again, I'm reading all these stories, and I'm reading about how well-known drug house. I
doesn't matter.
do not care. And in fact, here's what's interesting. There was a case we had. It was a case out of Georgia that dealt with the death penalty. Now, remember, we had one of the attorneys on the show, and they were trying to keep his brother from being put to death. And Tom Joyner said, well, you know, did the guy do it? The guy was guilty of the crime. And he said, well, you know, we probably more willing to fight for somebody who didn't do it. And this is what the lawyer said. The lawyer said, no, Tom. He said, where most of our laws have been deemed unconstitutional, it was when somebody actually did it. See, the problem that I think a lot of us have, and I guarantee you there's some people right now who are watching right now who are saying, well, I mean, y'all defending, if you read the story, dude had a long criminal record and they were known to sell drugs. It doesn't matter because you have the right to sit in your home and not be killed by cops. Cops must identify themselves no matter what the house is. That's why there's a thing called the United States Constitution. That's why you simply can't just strip search somebody. You can't just shake them down. You can't just pull them over hoping they have a warrant just to be able to search their car. No, you can't do those things. The rights of people exist whether or not you're somebody who has done nothing or whether you have a criminal history. In this case, there's no way that this cop should not have been charged with murder because that's exactly what this was.
I agree, and I'll tell you this: I never heard of a trap house that leaves the door open.
Right.
You know, just keeping it real with you. Like if you trap it, you want to keep the door closed because you don't want robbery or any other thing like that.
It was at night.
And people
Maybe
aren't
these
just
things
chilling in a trap house either.
What we're seeing, folks, what we're seeing is bothersome because what we have to understand is it keeps happening to us. I played this video earlier. It was on I believe, was it T.I.'s page? I think I played it. This video also made its rounds. Here we go to my iPad. The same video here.
Shut your car off.
He gonna shoot me.
Got a gun.
Where?
Gun.
Where?
Shut the car off.
Where? My hand in the air.
Shut the car off. Shut
No, hey, come shut the car off. I ain't moving my hand if he trying to shoot me. He trying to shoot me.
Shut the car off.
I ain't moving. No, my hand in the air.
Shut the car off.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air. My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
Need units at Midland Heights.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
All you gotta do is drive up.
What I was doing? What was I doing? What was I doing? My hand in the air. My hand in the air.
Shoot me. You comply with the lawful
Shoot
order.
me. My hand in the
I'm
air.
not gonna shoot you, but you're not gonna move those hands.
My hand in the air. My hand in the air. You tell me to shut my car off so you can shoot me. Come on now.
All right,
What I do wrong?
Okay. I want y'all to shut the car off. 40 seconds later, you're not going to move your hands.
There you go.
Shut.
He said
What?
it. He said it. He
Homeboy's right. No, I ain't touching nothing.
And if
Right.
you continue to watch the video, at some point he takes the guy's arm and just pulls it back, pulls it through because his arm is through the window. So he literally pulls his arm back as he's sitting in the car. So he has one hand recording and he pulls the guy's arms back outside of the window of the car. And so that's why when he opens it, the guy's arm is still through the window because he did right. No, I'm not turning off the car. He was seemed like he was in the passenger seat, was it? And he's telling him to reach over and turn off.
Bro, like, no,
not
you
go
ain't
do
shooting me
Not go
and
do
then
that.
claiming I was reaching for a gun. No, you said, nope, hands gonna stay right here.
It's not happening.
This is the reality for black people in this country.
For sure.
And even, so when white folks say, well, why didn't you just comply? That brother right there saying, no, I'm not going to comply with your lawful order because that might get me killed.
Exactly.
Right, and those are the things that we need to be mindful of. You know, a situation like this. You know, we don't know what led up to it, but the guy's literally in his car. I mean, I watched it. I generally don't watch these type of videos, but I watched it and I was saying to myself, wow. I mean, if I were in that position, I literally would do the same thing that the guy did. Nope, not going to turn off the car. And the guy tells the other officer, the guy who was in the car tells the other officer, no, you need to come turn off the car because I'm not turning off the car. Like the fact that we are seen as threats. We are black men are seen as threats and our women are seen as
There's another video I'm trying to find where this officer has his gun drawn and this guy same thing. The brother's like, why are you pointing your gun at me, dude? What? He's in the passenger side. I mean, and again, for people out there who love to just say, you know, again, you should just comply. No, the reality is Terrence Crutcher was walking slowly, had his hands up, and still got shot and killed because Betty, whatever her name, she panicked. The other cops, nobody else shot except her.
Right.
Okay, not a taser, but you shot to kill, and that's the problem because you can't rebound from death.
John Crawford, the guy I think
you can't. In Walmart, Beaver Creek, Ohio, John Crawford III.
Yeah.
You can't come back from death.
In a place that sold
This ain't
guns,
Lazarus.
He was walking around with a gun. In a place that sold guns, he was walking
And it
around.
wasn't real. It was a BB gun, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and this is what I explain to people. This is what it means to be black in America when you're dealing with these cops, and that's why, to me, it's absolutely sick when you have these nutty police officers out here, like the ones in Baltimore. Folks, the Baltimore Police Department came under fire on social media this weekend after a post calling some young people criminals after they arrested several people while responding to a large gathering at the Inner Harbor. Union President Sergeant Mike Mancuso tweeted, quote, "To our officers at Harbor tonight, protect each other and don't fall into the trap if they are only kids. Some are criminals. Keep the current policies and consent decree in mind. If ordered to arrest, put the name of the on-scene commander in all reporting." In a Facebook post, the American Civil Liberties Union of Maryland responded to that statement, saying it was unacceptable. Again, that's what you're dealing with when you talk about police officers in this country, and we're supposed to somehow say, oh no, everything is good, everything is well, we really shouldn't say anything. Well, guess what? That's why we focus on this show and we say what needs to be said. All right, folks, time for us to go. You want to make a comment?
Oh, yeah, I do. And why is it that it's the ACLU, it's Roland Martin, it's other people that have to call this out? Where are all these good apples? Where are the good police officers?
Look at those good apples.
Where are the good apples who are supposed to be calling this out and saying this is unacceptable?
Yeah, where the pro-lifers?
Right.
Right. But I'll just add very quickly, though, I generally don't think that it's a good idea for any officials to use this type of language because it's hot. I said the same thing when Barack Obama called the people in Baltimore thugs. So it's that same mindset. It's not, even though, white people, we can say what we want to say about them, but when Barack Obama made those comments calling those kids in Baltimore
I'm not sure how
thugs,
Barack Obama got into the conversation,
well,
but what I will say
because
is I'm not saying white
them.
officers or black
because
officers.
it's how
I'm
he
saying
views
officers.
them generally. So it crosses, as far as I know, we focus a lot on, well, this is how white people feel.
60% of
But
the
that was
Baltimore
Barack
Police
Obama
Department
made
is
that-
black.
Right,
So
but Barack
they've had-
Obama made those statements about the guy. So this
Well,
view
Obama had
of
more.
black
I'm talking
people
about
as
police
threats.
officers.
Gotta go ahead.
In regards to the tweet, when he mentioned the consent decree, I just wanted to know, what are we, like 3-4 years out since the consent decree came down? What exactly has the Baltimore Department done?
And I don't even know what he was saying. Advocate.
Yeah, he was just like,
What he was saying is put the commander's name down because you don't want to get in trouble in the consent
Yeah, I saw
decree.
that. I didn't
Right.
know
It
that.
made no sense.
Well,
know
first
what
of all,
that
it's Fraternal Order Police. That's no shock. All right, folks, going to go to break. We come back. We're going to talk Senator Bernie Sanders in charter schools. We'll be back on Roland Martin Unfiltered in just a moment. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey guys, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a lot of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company, and they are certainly on fire. Now, last time, of course, many of you missed this, and now here's an opportunity. They have a new investment opportunity that is as good, if not even better than the last one. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is a cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all of the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill recently passed Congress, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. Now, folks, they need land to grow all of the plants. This makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed high-paying tenants. That's right. They are hemp CBD landlords. And you can get in on the action. Now, you can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $500 up to $10,000. Now, like I said, you cannot miss out on this opportunity. You should invest by going to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org. You can get in the game, and you can do it now. All right, folks, tomorrow I'm going to be in Philadelphia for our School Choice is the Black Choice Town Hall taking place at one of the charter schools in Philadelphia. We previously have been in Atlanta as well as Indianapolis. And it's really interesting because it's amazing to me the level of attention that is focused on charter schools. But here's why I think it's the most dumbest thing in the world. Charter schools literally make up 10% of all public school students, which means that 90% of all kids in America who go to public schools go to traditional public schools. Yet how is the conversation all about charters? I keep making the argument. So 10% of the schools have created the funding problems for the other 90%. That is truly stuck on stupid. Last week, I interviewed Senator Bernie Sanders because he came out with his particular plan dealing with education, where he wants to get rid of for-profit charter schools. They only make up about 15% of all public charter school students. The rest, folks, are non-profit charter schools. And the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools, we want to talk to them about this. So joining us is Amy Wilkins, Sr., Vice President of Advocacy at the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools. So this is what still bugs me, because the problem that I have is how did 10% become the problem for the 90?
It's not the problem for the 90. Our school districts are stressed. They are underfunded. They need help. Their results for kids, particularly African American kids and Latino kids, aren't what they should be. But it isn't the fault of charter schools.
And so when I hear the phrase, "Oh my God, they're draining money," okay, and I have these debates with people on social media all the time, and I have to keep reminding them that when they say that charters are draining money from public schools, charters are public schools. So this idea that they're taking money, it's nonsensical. Also, I think most people have no idea what the hell they're talking about, because one, there's this assumption that charters are getting all this money, when in fact charters actually get less per pupil than traditional schools.
Right. Yeah, when a family moves out of a school district to go to a better school. If I moved out of D.C. so my son could go to school in Montgomery County, D.C. would lose that same money too, right? But if I stay in place and find another school in the public school system, just like if I left my church and went to another church in the same diocese, I leave the church, I take my pledge with me.
Okay, hold on. I want you to run past that, because again, this is what I think people don't understand.
The money stays in the system, is what I'm saying.
If there is a child that is in the Chicago public school system, and that family moves to the south suburbs, that money is allocated per pupil, does not stay in the Chicago public school system. It goes to the suburban area.
Exactly.
But it's a totally different school district.
Right.
Yet, if a child in the Chicago public school system goes to a charter school in the Chicago public school system, the money stays in the Chicago public school system.
Exactly.
Okay, because again, that's what amazes me whenever we have this discussion. And so when I talked to Senator Bernie Sanders, he did say that he supports nonprofit charters.
That's great.
But then he mentioned, of course, he wants transparency and some other things. But his distinction was that he was against for-profit charter schools.
Well, he has to take that up with the state of Arizona, because the state of Arizona is the only state in the 50 where a for-profit entity can hold a charter. So you can go out and talk to the people in Arizona, and leave the rest of us alone.
So hold on, but you have something like K-12, which is the online, which is a for-profit entity, but they run operations. They have students that are all over.
Yeah, and we've been working, and that really is a state-level issue. Senator Sherrod Brown raised that in Congress, and as well as Patty Murray. And both have agreed, and I think the way the laws work, it is a state-level issue, and my organization is working to curb or eliminate those entities where they are doing kids a disservice.
And the thing is, so I love this here, because we got somebody here, which is pretty funny. iRobot 107A. Roland Martin is being paid by charter school libraries. His show is broadcast from charter school offices. This is bad journalism. Well, actually, we actually pay for the office space. We pay for the office space.
Got him.
And see, like, literally pay for it.
Oh, my God.
All of it. Every month.
No charity.
Pay for it. Just so you can stop lying. And here's the deal. This one's like, oh, you don't disclose. Oh, I've been very clear and open and transparent. Anybody can Google me. Am I on the board of 50 Can? Yep. Was I previously on the board of Students First? Yep. And your point, will I advocate for charter schools? Damn right. Why? Because I want black people to be in charge of the education of black children. And this is what gets me, Doc. I hear all these black folks. Oh, also, while all y'all out there hating on charter schools, can y'all name me how many HBCUs in America have a charter school? So for all y'all who love HBCUs, why don't y'all go Dog Howard, which has a charter school? Am I correct, Amy?
You're correct, but also most of us don't hate charter schools. When you look at the polling data, 58% of African Americans support African-American voters support charter schools. When you go to millennial African Americans,
that's low data. We did the poll at TV1. We did the poll when I was at TV1. More than 70% of African American parents said they would send their kid to a charter school, and more than 70% of black parents said, I would take a voucher. Doc, this is simple, because black parents are the ones on the front line looking at their kids saying, I'm tired of my kid going to a failing school.
Yep. Right, I'm definitely not against charter schools. I think I just was looking at what Bernie Sanders was calling for, and it seemed pretty reasonable to me. But I think, as far as charter schools, the ones that produce, good results, I'm all for it. I have nothing against that. Malcolm X said only a fool would let his enemy educate his children. I'm not saying anybody's anyone's enemy, but certainly if black charter schools are going to educate black children, I have no issue with that.
Amy, the issue that I have is that first of all, literally the level of ignorance of people who have no idea about charters. One of the things you will hear is that there's no accountability. First of all, education in America is not federal. It's actually state, just actually local. So you have state laws. So when somebody tells me you have no accountability for charters, that's a lie. In Texas, you have a charter school. You have 3 years. 3 years to get your numbers to an acceptable level, or they shut you down. 3 years. I know of some traditional schools that have been failing black kids for 30 years, and they're still in existence. Y'all, that's the law in Texas. There are other states where they have...
It's not just Texas. I mean, that is the condition under which charter schools are set up in every state. It's not necessarily 3 years. But if you don't meet the conditions of your charter, you are shut down. That is the ultimate accountability. I went to a public school here in D.C., and in third grade, I couldn't read, right? I could not read. That school is still, I'm 60 years old, that school is still undereducating black kids in this city. If it were a charter school, it would have been shut years and years and years ago.
Malik and Kelly, here's what also gets me, because this is what it angers me to no end. That you have folks who fight for failure. They also believe that money is the answer to this issue when they haven't even bothered to ask, how is the money allocated?
Right.
For instance, if you're in a school district and it's $10,000 per pupil, all $10,000 does not go to the education of the child. It doesn't. About 70+% actually goes towards administration and is paying for other things that have nothing to do with education, But see, that's the BS that folks have fallen for.
Yeah, it's a big misinformation campaign, and I think it's the fact that it's become political. So, you have people, the Republicans are generally more supportive of charter schools and school choice, and then on the other opposite end, you have unions, where Democrats are more supportive of unions, and then Republicans wage this misinformation campaign when talking about things like unions.
But hold up. I need you to unpack that, because see, Amy, this is part of the problem. Kelly wanted to bring you in as well, because see, folks don't want to deal with transparency.
Mm-hmm.
What you have on the left, you're absolutely right. Unions are the biggest, teachers' unions, one of the biggest financial supporters of Democrats, who largely oppose charters, which is kind of stupid because the American Federation of Teachers has a charter school.
Yeah, they do.
In New York. I'm sorry, that makes no sense.
I didn't even know that.
So, yes, they have a charter school in New York City, but they oppose charters. Hello. So, that's what you have. Now, Malik, there are some nefarious people on the right who only support school choice because they want to see unions shut down. See, so as somebody who's in the movement, I've challenged those white conservatives. Why are you here? Because if you're here trying to pimp black and brown kids for your political purposes, get the hell out.
Right.
But me, this is about education. And that's the difference. And so you got to call out folks' motives. And there are Democrats who are in support of school choice. You have Democrats for ed reform, Shavar Jeffries leads that, so that exists. So when we talk about transparency and accountability, we got to always say, what are your motives as to why you are in this?
Roland, let me just enter one other thing into it. There's a study from Berkeley a couple years ago that said that charters don't produce better results. That's my only issue with charters. There's a lot of evidence that says that they don't necessarily, and not only that, when you talk about attrition, and this is what Bernie Sanders was asking for, was just transparency on your attrition rates. Right. And the people, charters also kick kids out that are problems.
Right. So now let me unpack that. Unpack that. Amy, go ahead.
Well, I think a couple things. Most of the evidence, charters are a mixed bag. There are some very good charter schools, there are some mediocre charter schools, and there's some charter schools that should go away. On the whole, the evidence that we have, and the soundest evidence, is a study that was done a couple of years ago by the Center for Education Reform, which showed that in urban settings, black kids and Latino kids in English language and mathematics gain more days than their peers in the district-operated schools. So in general, our kids do better in these schools. But the thing about, and that's really important to me, because what I want is for African-American and Latino kids to do better in school than they are. But the other thing about charter schools is it gives families choices, right? When you are affluent, you got a lot of choices about where to send your kids.
You can pack up and move.
Yeah, right. but if you are low income, what charter schools do, in Minnesota, there's Hip Hop High, right, where that Prince helped found, and that is a kind of education that most people wouldn't have access to if it weren't a charter school. Here in D.C., you have Washington Latin, so a family could pick a classical education for their kids. Affluent people have all these choices for their kids. I want to be sure that all those choices are high quality, but I want to be sure that your income and your race don't limit your choice. And I want to strengthen the public school system. And what charter schools are a part of a healthy education ecosystem.
Here's what I found to be very interesting, Kelly, whenever we had this conversation.
Right.
Magnet schools have been around for more than 30 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Magnet schools are specialized schools. There are people who I deal with, they say, yeah, they have lotteries, but charters can pick who they want.
I don't.
To everybody who's watching, I went to Jack Yates High School, traditional public high school in Houston, Magnet School of Communications. Guess what that meant? I had to apply to get into Yates Magnet School of Communications, which means somebody got rejected.
Right.
But what's interesting is, folks, especially some of the black people, and I would love for the black people sitting here commenting on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope, I would love for them to explain to me how they criticize charters by saying they're selective when it's a lottery system and they're not. But then say nothing about the plethora of magnet schools in America where you have to apply to get in.
Not only that, but I grew up here in D.C., and I had to apply to public schools here in DC to get out of my district of the middle school that I was zoned to because it was an underperforming school. I had to apply to get into a public school, a straight DCPS, non-magnet public school, just so that I could have an education at the same par as my white counterparts.
And here's the issue with study, Jason. Here's my issue with studies. I could pull any study to show you traditional schools and charter schools. Here's what the reality is. There are traditional schools that are doing great jobs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My philosophy is study them, replicate them. There are charter schools that are doing a great job. Keep them, study, replicate them. They can coexist at the same time. The problem I have is when you have traditional schools that are failing and black people are being told, wait, the 10-year plan is coming, and if your kid's in the 5th grade, they're only there 7 more years, so 10-year plan will be a little too late. But then you also have, and this is what I told the white folks in the aid reform movement, there are charter schools that are abysmal, that have no business being open and should be shut down. I can't accept failure. The problem I have is the people who want to limit, like in California right now, limit the successful charters by saying, oh, it's bad because the school district is underfunded. No, because y'all don't know how to manage your money.
Right.
And you ain't got a $35 million shortfall because 500 kids left.
Right.
No, you got a shortfall for some other reasons. That's the issue that I have when we have this conversation.
No, I agree with you. I think we're, for the most part, in agreement. And the only thing that I would disagree with that you said earlier was when you said that people on the left don't criticize the way public schools are right now. I mean,
that's not what I said.
You know, if you look at what people have been saying about Stuyvesant and what, you know, the things that are going on in New York City and the way that
No.
There's been plenty of criticism.
No. First of all, those are no. First of all, those schools in New York are deemed elite schools.
Right.
Those, just like in Houston, we had programs called Vanguard. Okay, that's what those schools are. I'm talking about you have districts where you have 20, 30, 40 magnet schools, but where it's become accepted. And what people say is, well, the magnet school, they're under the school board, so there's still control over it.
Plenty of critiques for magnet schools too. But that's a segregated school within a school.
But here's the piece though. Okay, so then what do you do? How do you then create career-driven schools if you don't have some form of process? Booker T. Washington High School in Houston is an engineering magnet school. You have to take a rigorous test to get in. Why? Because they're trying to produce engineers.
Yeah, but
everybody can't go if you're not proficient in math and sciences. You can't pass the test because guess what? You're probably not going to be a successful engineer. And guess what? Prairie View A&M, Texas A&M, and those schools that want those black engineering, they go right to Booker T. Washington because they are producing black engineers from 9 through 12. Without that school, no leg up.
And you were right. And we talked about, I think this is part of that misinformation campaign from vested interests, those who are opposed to charters.
Those who support.
Well, yeah, you just mentioned data, talking about just the number of us, black people in general who support things like charter and school choice. The numbers are high. Here in D.C., parents have to participate in a lottery, where they may have 5 or 6 or 7 different schools that they simply just throw their child's name in a bag, and hopefully they you have to get put on a waiting list. You have to get put on a waiting list, and you may end up at number 70
New
on
York
one waiting
City,
list.
there are 20+ thousand families on a waiting list to get into the top charter schools.
So how can you not have choice?
20,000.
There are 5 million kids around the country whose parents would prefer to enroll them in a charter school if there were space.
Kelly, the thing that, again, what is just is killing me is that our kids are the ones getting screwed.
Because you have a situation where the topic is really polarizing, but on those two polls, you have these vested interests, and neither of them really are in the best interests of our children. So we need to come to a conclusion where we meet in the middle and see.
Actually, go ahead.
No, like we need to meet in the middle, and we need to see what's working for both like just straight public schools and straight charter schools, and just come to a conclusion where we can actually create schools in both categories that'll be beneficial for our
Here's the deal here.
I say
Here's the
one
deal
thing?
here. I'm not meeting in the middle. No. I'm not meeting
You
in
should
the
have choice.
No. Let me be real clear. I'm not meeting in the middle. I only give a damn about children.
What works for kids?
I only give a damn about what works for kids. In this city, Washington, D.C., again, for all y'all folks who want to comment, please answer this. In Washington, D.C., oh my God, if you have these charters, it's the death knell of the school system. Right now, in Washington, D.C., half of the district are traditional schools, half are charters. Still exists. Hasn't died, hasn't been killed, oh my goodness. No, they coexist. Why can't we have, because I say this too, and again, people get mad at me because you talk about private and public. Here's the reality. We have state university. You teach at a state university. You coexist in a state with private colleges. You coexist with HBCUs. University of Maryland. Now, granted, you got the lawsuit going on there. Larry Hogan, damn that $100 million settlement you want to give. It should be $2 billion to the HBCUs. But the problem that I have, again, is we act as if there's only one delivery system to educate a child when we literally have a nation where there's traditional public, there's charter, there's magnet, there's homeschool, there's online school, there are technical schools. There are multiple ways, but when we are trying to control it, oh, no, bad idea. So that's the issue I have.
So, again, I'm not in disagreement. My only thing, again, is so I did a little bit of work with Kipu Moja, which is in Baltimore, in the Park Heights area, food desert, low-income community, and shout out to Park Heights. Now, the issue there that I saw was that it was an amazing school. It had amazing administrators. It had amazing teachers, and they literally set up a trauma center, which was given, staffed by people from Johns Hopkins. Johns Hopkins helped them. They had, nurses and doctors and things like that for on staff, psychologists. And the question is, how come we've been unable to have those kinds of things in public school?
Well, no.
And now again, I'm not blaming the charter school. They're doing the right thing.
Not how come.
Right. They're doing the right thing.
Not
I'm
how
saying
come.
we need to have that.
We should be shifting to the black-run school board saying, why haven't you done it? See, this is what happens.
Why haven't we developed that kind of relationship?
But here's what happens. What happens is it leads to shut them down.
Stop.
Shut them down.
But that's not my argument.
No, I know that. But I'm talking about, I've heard all these arguments. It literally, shut them down so we can do it over here. I'm going, wait a minute, why can't that exist and you do it over here?
Everywhere where there are kids.
What they have
they're allowed,
and just replicate it.
That's what I don't understand. Amy, go ahead.
No, that is one of the points of charter schools, is charter schools are supposed to be nimble, are supposed to be able to respond to the needs of the communities in which they're located. And then it's, we develop the model, we show you the model, we work the kinks out, then you have an easier path. You district-operated school, because we did all the sort of beta work on it. Now here we show it to you. It is on the school district to say, oh yeah, that works, let's do it.
And guess what, folks? This is real simple. If a traditional school is killing it, there will not be a need for a charter school. See, that's what it boils down to. I mean, we can sit here and holler all we want to, but people are filling a void because of what is failing. And again, We can sit here and we can run down every single problem. We can say they have not been funded from day one. We can talk about racism. We can talk about classism. We can talk about everything in the world. But at the end of the day, if you got a black kid who's sitting in an elementary school and that elementary school has an F, when you're dealing with schools where I was in Selma, let me help y'all out. I was in Selma. The first black woman who was an athletic director at a Division I program, she said the test scores in Selma are so bad, I would not authorize my scouts to even come recruit your athletes because they likely wouldn't be able to pass the test.
Wow.
4% of black kids in the state of Alabama were proficient reading and math level. 4. Guess what? They ain't have charter schools. 3 years ago. And guess how many? So again, for all y'all out there, okay, since y'all want to talk about data and studies, 3 years the law has been passed in Alabama. They have fought like cats and dogs to keep charters from opening. And Amy, how many charters in Alabama?
There's, I think, 2 opening in the fall.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a disgrace.
2. That means the massive failure in that whole state, who you gonna blame it on? Can't blame it on charters. It's only 2 in the whole state.
Right.
That's it. And they only been there in the last 3 years. I was there 2 years ago and they only had 1. So who you gonna blame it on? So what the hell are we supposed to tell the black kids in Alabama? I'll wait. I'll wait. What do we should tell the black parents in Alabama? Yet we are sitting here getting caught up in this BS. No. Accept success, say enough to failure. That's what we should be doing. Amy, we appreciate it. Thanks a bunch, folks.
Thank you
Again,
so
tomorrow
much.
we'll be in Philadelphia. Looking forward to it. We'll actually be broadcasting from there as well, so we'll be live streaming the event. It is free up to the public. Guys, chill the music. I got one more story. I'm not going just there yet. And so I'm going to read for you the location. Again, it's going to be at Mastery Charter School, Shoemaker Campus, 5301 Media Street in Philadelphia. We have, of course, we have our information tables from 5:30 to 6. The panel will be from 6 to 8. Dr. Steve Perry will be joining me for a one-on-one conversation as well. And then we'll have more of our information after that. So again, we'll be broadcasting from there 6 to 8 tomorrow, answering those questions. Gotta give a shout out right now, folks, to Lonnie Bunch. He, of course, is the brother who led the building, the National Museum of African American History and Culture. He's the founding director. Well, guess what? He has a huge new job. He has been named the 14th Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution. That means that Lonnie Bunch will now oversee 19 museums, 21 libraries, the National Zoo, numerous research centers, and several education units and centers as well. And so big congratulations to Lonnie Bunch. Folks, also on Saturday, French Senegalese director Mati Diop became the first black female director to win an award in the Cannes Film Festival. 72-year history. She also was the first black woman to ever have a film accepted for competition at the festival. She took home the Grand Prix Award, which is the equivalent of a silver third-place prize for her film Atlantics. The movie is set in Senegalese that combines social consciousness with the supernatural and a tale of sexual politics among young migrants. And so the sister is doing well. All right, folks, all you members of our Bring the Funk fan club, here's what we got. If you are a member, we can go, guys, go ahead and pull it up, please. You can go to the website right now and you can get your discount to all the books that we have, of course. My book, The First, President Barack Obama's Road to the White House. Also, my wife's book called Fulfill, The Art and Joy of Balanced Living, as well as my faith-based book, Listen to the Spirit Within. You can get all 3 of those books on our website. And again, if you are a member of the Bring the Funk fan club, you should already have your code. If you don't, that means you ain't a member. And so what you should do is you should, of course, go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com to join our Bring the Funk fan club. And again, the discount code is only for members of the fan club. You should have gotten an email. If you have not gotten one, shoot me an email. We'll also double check that. The discount for all of our fan club members is 10% on all of those books. And you can, of course, apply that at the discount code when you check out. So go to, again, RolandSMartin.com /shop, RolandSMartin.com /shop for you to purchase those books. And again, you don't have to be a member of the fan club. love to buy those books as well. Every book that we sell through the website, personally autographed by the authors, and so you definitely want to get your copy. All right, folks, we got to go. I'm going to see you guys again from Philadelphia tomorrow. We'll be back in D.C. On Thursday. All right? You have a great one. Holla!
I was recently in Atlanta for our School Choice is the Black Choice Town Hall event. There was an elementary school in Atlanta, folks. This is a black elementary school. 5% of the school's students were reading on grade level. I'm gonna repeat that. In Atlanta, 5% of the children were reading on grade level. So you then have to ask the question, what's gonna happen when they're in middle school? What's going to happen when they are in high school? Will they ever be able to catch up? Will they be consigned for the entire life of being behind?
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? The blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.
Recently in Atlanta for our School Choice is the Black Choice Town Hall event. There was an elementary school in Atlanta, folks. This is a black elementary school. 5% of the school's students were reading on grade level. I'm gonna repeat that. In Atlanta, 5% of the children were reading on grade level. So you then have to ask the question, what's gonna happen when they're in middle school? What's going to happen when they are in high school? Will they ever be able to catch up? Will they be consigned for the entire life of being behind?
Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered, the blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.